Alright guys, today we're going to go ahead and talk about transforming our parabolas. So before we get started, we're going to go ahead and fill out this little vocab sheet. So the vertex, when I say vertex, I'm talking about the vertex in my form. So I have the equation y is equal to a times x minus h squared plus k. And my vertex in that equation is h comma k. So if you notice, it's the opposite sign than what's in your equation. And it's just for h. Your k will be exactly the same. So if it's positive here, it'll be positive in your vertex. If it's negative, then it'll be negative. However, with your h or your x version, your x coordinate, if it's negative in your equation, it'll be positive for your vertex. If it's positive, then it'll be negative. Your domain are your x values. Your range deals with your y values, and most specifically, you're either going to have y is less than or equal to something, and by that something, it's going to be the k of your vertex. That'll be if your parabola opens down. Or your range will be y is greater than or equal to your k value if your k opens up, or your parabola opens up. And we'll talk about that once we really get working. It probably makes no sense right this second, but trust me when I say it'll be up or down based on that value. If it's a minimum, that's when the parabola opens up, and it's talking about the vertex being the minimum. And I know it's spelled parabola, but it's pronounced back up. La. So if you want to spell it phonetically, that's a very awful art. Let me try that again. I'm sorry, the computer is being pretty cool today. And that happens when my parabola opens up. I have a maximum when my parabola opens down. Again, up would make a U shape, down would make an upside down U shape. And my axis of symmetry is going to be x equals the x of the vertex. So in this case, x is going to be equal to h, and it's going to be that line. And we've seen this a little bit already. I just wanted to refresh your memory. So let's go ahead and take a look at the next part. So when transforming parabolas, some different things happen. If my value in front of my equation, or in this case the a, if that's going to be negative, we're going to reflect. And that means that it's going to open down. If my a is bigger than 1, not equal or equal to, if my a is bigger than 1, it's going to narrow. If my a is less than 1, it's going to widen. And then if it equals 1, there's no change. The same thing is true for the next one above, but on top of it, it's going to reflect. So it can reflect and narrow, or it can reflect and widen, or it can just basically reflect. If my h is bigger than 0, oops, I missed a step, haha, sorry. We talked about on the slide before, my vertex was h comma k. In the equation y is equal to a times x minus h squared plus k. If the h value is greater than 0, it goes to the right. If my h is less than 0, it goes to the left. If my k is greater than 0, it goes up. If my k is less than 0, it goes down. And again, my axis of symmetry is x is equal to h. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at using this material to describe what's going to go on with my graph, and we're also going to graph it. So first steps first is I'm going to go ahead and determine my vertex. My vertex is going to be the opposite of what I see in my parentheses. So I see -3, so it's going to be positive. And then it's going to stay the same outside. So my vertex is at 3, 2. My axis of symmetry is x is equal to whatever the x value is of my vertex, so in this case 3. Range deals with my y values, and it's going to be y is greater than or equal to, depending on what's going on in front. Well, since there is no number there, it's assumed to be positive. So if it's positive, my y's are getting bigger, and it's going to be bigger than that too. Again, since he's going to be positive, he's getting bigger, so that's going to be my smallest y value possible. And again, there's no a value. A is equal to 1. So he's not going to widen or narrow. He's going to stay the same. He's going to have no change. I know it's not an option. I meant to put it as an option. So let's go ahead and graph what we've talked about. So I have my axis of symmetry as x equals 3, which is this line. And it's a line, so we need arrows. My vertex is at 3 up 2, so he's right there. And when I do my sketch, I like to go at least 1 to the right or to the left of my vertex to determine another point, so I can roughly get a good sketch of this. So if I go 1 value to the right, that'll be 4. If I go 1 to the left, it would be 3. So I'm just going to go to the right. So I'm picking 4. So I'm going to let x equal 4. When I do that, I'm going to plug that 4 back into the original problem to solve. So I'm going to have 4 minus 3 squared plus 2. Now 4 minus 3 is 1. So I have 1 squared plus 2. 1 squared is 1. 1 plus 2 is 3. So my new point is 4, 3. I'm going to go ahead and put that on here. And we know that the parabolas reflect across each other. So since I have a point here, I'm also going to have a point over here. And then I can just connect my lines and make my curve. All right, let's go ahead again and determine all of these different points. So if I see +1, I know I'm going to be the opposite, so my vertex is going to be at -1, -4. My axis of symmetry is going to be at that same x line, so x is -1. Range, I know it's going to be y's. Now if I look here at the 2, I have a +2, so that means it's going to be getting bigger. So y is greater than or equal to, and that value here is the y value of the vertex, so -4. Since the a, or the value in front, is bigger than 1, he's going to narrow because he's going up faster. So when he goes up faster, he's getting closer and closer and closer. And I realized that I skipped one, and again, it's positive, so he's going to have a minimum. So let's go ahead and put this on here. I'm doing a video. So if I have the axis of symmetry at x is -1, My line is at -1. I have my vertex points at -1, -4, so I'm going to go down 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And again, I'm going to find another point, so I can go ahead and continue graphing so I can make my curve. And here's an easy point. To the right of my point is 0, and who doesn't love plugging in 0? So I'm going to plug in 0. Again, I could plug in -2 if I wanted to. Doesn't matter. 0 plus 1 is 1. So then I have 2 times 1 squared minus 4. 1 squared is 1. So then I have 2 times 1 minus 4. 2 times 1 is 2. 2 minus 4 is -2. So my point is at 0, -2. So I'm going to go ahead and put that point on there. And then reflect it. And connect my dots as best I can. Again, you guys can draw better on your paper than I can on my computer. Alright, I believe this is my last one. Yep. So I really want you to try this one on your own first. And then before you graph, come and check what I have written against what you have. And then if it's correct, pause again, and then go ahead and graph your graph, and then come back and check it. Okay? Cool. Alright, so my vertex is the opposite of what I see. So I see negative, so it's positive. And then the same thing afterwards, so it's going to be +3. So my vertex is at 2, 3. My axis of symmetry is wherever x is equal to, and that's going to be 2 in this case because it's the same as the vertex. The range in this case, since I'm negative, is going to be smaller. So we're going to be less than, and we're going to be less than that 3. Since he's going to go down because he's got a negative and my y values are going to get smaller, this is going to be a maximum. That's the highest point that it's going to be. Taking a look at a half, it's less than 1, so in this case it's going to widen. So we know that we have our axis of symmetry here at x is 2. I have my vertex at 2, 3. And I want to pick a point. And this time, I'm just going to go ahead and pick a point to the left, just because why not? Now, when I deal with fractions, I don't necessarily want to do 1, because in this case, I'm going to divide by a fraction, and I'm going to have an odd divided by even, and that's not going to give me a nice answer. So if I have fractions here, I'm going to do even numbers. I'm going to do 2, 4, 6, 8, 0, so on and so forth. So instead of plugging in 1, I'm going to plug in 0. Now, it doesn't matter. I don't have to go 1 right next to it. So if I go back a second, I didn't have to pick 0. I didn't have to pick the one point right there. I could have picked 8 for all I care. I just need to be someplace that isn't on my axis. Well, I don't really want to pick 1, so I'm going to pick 0. So I have -1/2 times 0 minus 2 squared plus 3. So 0 minus 2 is -2. So I have -1/2 times -2 squared plus 3. -2 squared is +4 because it's -2 times -2. Remember, fractions are just division, so I essentially have 4 divided by -2, which will give me -2. And I have -2 plus 3, which is going to give me 1. So my point is 0, 1. So I'm going to go ahead and graph that guy. So I'm going to be at 0, 1. And since I'm 2 away, I need to go 2 away to the right. And connect my dots. Alright, see you guys tomorrow.